World Financial Group offers entrepreneurs from all backgrounds the opportunity to start their own business on a level playing field. Dr. Yana Woodhouse, receiving the WCM Wall Street Pioneer Award by the United Black Wall Street of America, Inc., is one of those entrepreneurs.
I see WFG and TFA as a place where African Americans with an entrepreneurial mindset can flourish. And the bonus, we help families and serve the communities across the country.
To learn more about us, go to worldfinancialgroup.com.
We are the sons and daughters of the soul. We are resilient and forever forward-thinking. We ask for nothing else than the opportunity to live and to create the lives that we were meant to live. We want nothing but an equal chance at options and possibilities. The same possibilities and options to live out our potential as our fellow man. We want to be heard, understood, and expressive in our reality. We are the future. We are the creative. We are here.
Live from Soul City. Good morning, community. Good morning, community is a platform where members of the community can find out more about small businesses and community-based organizations, how to get involved, volunteer, or donate, as well as some of the resources and services they provide. At Good Morning Community, we offer encouragement, share resources, and we encourage you to hold yourself accountable. And most importantly, we genuinely want to see you win. My name is Eartha Watts Hicks. I'm the CEO of Eartha Tone Books, publisher of Love Changes and A Planner is a Girl's Best Friend, as well as a freelance writer, editor, and PR writer and affiliate for blackpr.com and executive editor at Harlem World Magazine. I am your host, and today we have a very, very, very special guest, Mrs. Femi Lewis. Now, Femi Lewis is the founder of Amplify Content and Digital Design, a content marketing and coaching firm that supports entrepreneurs in sharing their core messages via digital platforms. She is also the host of For Black Mompreneurs, a Black podcast dedicated to motivating Black women who are mothers and entrepreneurs, committed to sharing stories related to economic development and entrepreneurship. Femi's work has appeared in media outlets such as The Balance Small Business, Black Enterprise, the South Florida Sentinel, Fort Worth Start Telegram, and Destination Newark. She lives in the Bronx with her husband and two children. And you can email Femi at amplifycontent.com or connect with her on Instagram at amplifywithfemi. Hey, Femi.
Hey, Eartha. How are you?
Good. Thanks for joining us. And
Thank you for having me.
To start off, I know what you do for me, but to start us off, please share what you do for others.
Okay, so I am a content marketing strategist. I started my, um, I have a kind of story career as a writer, but um, when my daughter was a baby, I started freelancing because I realized I didn't want to necessarily go back to work. So I started writing content for entrepreneurs. I started editing. I started doing a lot of things. And that evolved into a business. And then later on, I realized that what entrepreneurs really needed was not just somebody that could create content for them. They needed a content strategist, and they needed a content strategist who knew how to partner with other people. So I partner with like a website developer, graphic designers, videographers. So you can come to us for the full package at Amplify Content and Digital Design. So if you were to come to me and you said, Femi, I want to do LinkedIn posts for the whole first quarter of the new year. Well, then we'll develop a strategy for that. We'll think about the graphics that you need to go along with those posts, and then we'll write the posts and you'll have the graphics to go with them. And you'll have a full package done. So you don't have to say, oh, I've got these 12 posts. Now I have to find somebody to create some graphics to go along with it. We make the job easier for you.
Thank you. Thank you, Emmy.
Yes.
Now, let me raise my hand and say I can attest to your skills as an editor because I edit
Mhm.
for other people, but I call you for editing. So I just want to put that
Yes,
out there
you have.
because you were amazing with the work that you've done with my work graffiti mural. And
That's
my I
changing.
have to say this because this is one of the reasons why I love, love, love you and call you my Femi. You call me on my
Wow.
stuff. So you say, Eartha, you can do better than that. This is not your best writing. I know your best writing, and you're not doing your best writing. So, I love just having a friend that just in love tells me the truth. That's like everything to me. So, that's that. Let me get that out of the way. I had to say that first. But
Yes.
aside from you being a marvelous editor, I love the fact that you have a strategy where it's multiple entities working to pull together a concept for a woman's business. So
Right.
even if you have a blueprint to look at, and this is just a perfect, marvelous blueprint, doing everything yourself is overwhelming, especially if you're already overwhelmed as
Right.
a mom. So tell us
And I'll let me
what.
just say this. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I want to say this. Like, as entrepreneurs, we shouldn't be doing it all on our own. We should be investing in ourselves and investing in our businesses so that we can really grow. Like, an entrepreneur that is doing everything is an entrepreneur that is tired and is going to burn out. And so, as soon as you can, you have to make a way to lean on other people. And just like you said, Eartha, like I will say to you when you're writing, you're a better writer than this. You can't tell yourself that, right? Either you get stuck in writer's block and you don't finish, or you just go full steam ahead putting together something that's really not in your best interest. So, we all need that extra hand, lending hand, an extra ear, extra mind, other insight in our businesses.
Mhm. Yeah, I know we need that one accountability factor, and we need someone
Mhm.
who can encourage us to just try a little bit
Right.
harder, and that's what you offer. I know if you offer that to me, more than likely you offer that to your clients as well. I just like to
Mhm.
assume I'm special, but
You are special.
I when anybody asks for anything related, my first suggestion or recommendation is, oh yeah, call Femi. um but yeah, so what makes business as a woman? Now I know what makes different business as a woman and a mom different for me, but for those who are not fully aware of what makes operating a business different as a mom, please kind of like explain in simple terms what that journey is like and how you intercede as a mompreneur coach in what you do and the
Okay.
services you
Oh,
provide.
I never thought about myself as a coach, but I guess in some ways through the podcast I am. I think so often when you are in a professional setting like at work, you are taught like out so you don't have to say, oh, well, I have to leave at 2 because my son is sick, or this has to happen. When you're running your own business, I mean, you really can call the shots in so many ways. I mean, by all means, you have to have results for yourself and you have to make money. But if you can't work after 2:30, you can't work after 2:30. And then you can just tell everybody, I'm not available, and that's it. But I think that there's power in that. It's not forever. Just like, I think when I met you, your daughter was like in high school and your son was probably the age of my oldest now, right? And I had no children. And I just remember you navigating everything you wanted around them. And that can be very difficult, but it's also something that if you kind of just embrace and say, listen, I don't have all the time in the world, but I drop them off. I do my morning walk and then I come home, recalibrate. I start work at 9 and I'm done at 2:30 and I go into my other mode. It works. And so I think that's the biggest thing for me that I've had to realize is the power of just embracing my professionalism and the skills that I have, and also grow as a mother and allowing my children to see that, because I think that's really important that they see you in a space doing things that are not necessarily related to them but will give them insight and help them to create their own legacy of being an entrepreneur, or if not an entrepreneur, having an entrepreneurial mindset, which is just as important in the workplace.
Yeah. I mean, I know the skills in your wheelhouse, as in the offerings of different services that you provide, is almost like a product list in a supermarket. Um, so if you can kind of just lay out what those different services are, and
Okay.
and kind of give us an example or walk us through what that experience is like for a mom that comes to
Okay.
you.
Okay. And so I'll just make clear, amplify content and digital design is for service-based entrepreneurs. It's not just for mompreneurs. The podcast for Black mompreneurs is a resource for Black women who are mompreneurs or want to be an entrepreneur and are a mother. So I'll just make that clear. So if you are coming to me for amplified content and digital design, for me it always begins with strategy. I'm not a business that does not work just with tactics. I always begin with a strategy, and I feel like in all things that's what you need, right? You need a roadmap, you need goals, you need ideas present before you can start employing tactics. And so I make that very clear to people that that's where I start. So once we create the strategy, then we do the content planning and the production and all of those things. And typically we work in a quarter mode. So any content that's created, like for LinkedIn, is like 12 posts. So you have 12 weeks of LinkedIn posts. If it's website content, a website, then we're creating that entire thing from start to finish. Again, with an idea of your goals in mind, what it is you want to achieve with a website versus I just need a website up. Because I think sometimes a lot of times entrepreneurs just think about what they need and not necessarily what is the end result. So
Mhm, mhm.
that's how I support people, entrepreneurs, through amplify content in digital design. And then in For Black Mompreneurs, I have the podcast. So I had started over the summer. I've been thinking about it for a long time. And I did 10 monologues, just post I'm sorry, episodes talking about certain things having to do with motherhood and entrepreneurship, like having the courage to move yourself forward, not giving into imposter syndrome, and thinking about those things as a woman and as an entrepreneur and as a mother, and what it is teaching your children, because our children are watching us in everything that we do. So we have to constantly be showing them, like, you got to show up afraid and just go in there and try your best, right? We'll tell them that, but are we showing them that? So that's what I do in For Black Mompreneurs. And there's an online digital space for Black mompreneurs too. It has some content like just around different resources, like, you know different types of free legal aid, or how to think about business banking, things that when you're first starting and you have a business idea, you might not necessarily think of, but those core foundational things are so important. So they're there. So that's how both brands kind of work.
Thank you. And that information is on your website. Okay.
Yes.
And that's for Black mompreneurs.
So
The
there's
website.
amplifiedcontent.co, and then
Mhm.
there's forblackmompreneurs.com.
Gotcha. Okay, so it's two separate websites. Got it.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So um with for Black mompreneurs, because I know there's a difference in just doing this whole entrepreneur thing as a mom and then as a Black
Mhm.
mom.
Mhm.
So um I know what that's like, but please kind of spell it out for those who are not quite understanding the differences or kind of need a little explanation.
I think, especially in our current socio-political climate, Black women in this country are under serious attack. And if Black women are under attack, Black children are under attack. Right? You attack a mother, you don't attack the ability to take care of children. And so I really feel like, and I'm somebody that is always very much tied to my community, tied to who I am in terms of identity. I just feel like when you think about the fact that 300,000 Black women have been laid off from jobs and what that will do to families, and how we should always be thinking about not necessarily having a full-fledged business, but sometimes a side hustle or something that will just tie you over in these moments, but you got to be ready so you don't have to get ready. And
Mhm.
so I think, just always thinking about how you can have something going for yourself, for your family, and teaching your children those same things is very important. So, like a few years ago, my daughter had started selling bracelets. She was 8 years old, but it kind of helped her realize certain things. Oh, I want to do this vending event. Well, if my cousins are going to see the Rockettes, I'm about to miss it because my mother just paid this $50 for this vending table for me, right? So you got to make some decisions that are hardcore, but it's important for them at that age to really realize that, and then to say, is this what I want right now? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe I want to do it differently. And either way, it's fine. The point is that you put yourself forward and you think about what you're doing. Um, so I just think, teaching children to have a growth mindset, an entrepreneurial mindset, not necessarily I'm opening a business today, but I'm a creative and I'm an innovator, and I'm always going to be able to take care of myself. I'm always going to be able to pivot and be resilient are very important things for them to learn. And it's important for us to realize that we need to be teaching them this to them. Like, we might be giving a lot of time and energy to making sure they can do things academically, but not teaching them resilience, right? Something doesn't go your way, how do you respond? And even I'm teaching my children that, right? You don't have to cry every time if something doesn't go your way. What do you do? Are you thinking ahead? I think is really important. And I think when we think about how we need to really be developing our community and how we need to be ready for whatever fight comes our way, and I feel like some bigger fights are coming in this country. We need to be ready, and we need to have our families ready in a different way.
Yeah, yeah. I know, and oftentimes it seems like as a Black mom, we go from struggle to struggle, and sometimes it seems that even when we have a side hustle, that side hustle is to help us juggle the struggles. So,
Mhm.
um, it's serious out here, and that
And
even back in going back when in the 70s and the 60s when our mothers were cooking dinners and selling dinners to the neighbors or organizing
mhm.
bus trips to great adventures, those were side hustles. They didn't call it side hustles, but that's really what it was. So we have to nowadays be creative, and be creative about how we bring money into the household, and how we provide for our families, and how we feed our children. It's not always about this, the skimping and the saving, and yes, skimp and save and do what you can to put money aside. But at the same time, we have to be creative in how we manage our resources, and how we acquire a different set of streams of income. And
Absolutely.
I love how you've shown your children, especially your daughter, from an early age, what entrepreneurship is, what the responsibility of it is, and that she has to kind of stick to her own integrity when it comes to managing her own business. Um,
Hmm.
what I'm going to say, what other lessons have you taught her, and how is she adapting and adjusting?
I mean, I think it's a growth. She's 11 now, almost
Mhm.
12. But I think it's about growth and being able to stand up. And some things are just as simple as, I remember she wanted to have a table at at a space again. And so I had the woman's email. She's my friend on Facebook. So I said to her, I said, "Here's my phone." I pulled up Lourdes's number. I mean her messenger, her on Messenger, and I said, I want you to send her an email right now and say, this is Akayate, Femi's daughter, and I would like to vend at the next event. Do you have any tables together available? And so she was like, I don't want to do that. Oh, and I was like, well, then you don't get to go. I'm not doing that for you. Right. Now, I mean, she was dying, but I was real. I was like, send the send the message. Or you're not doing it. Cause that's the first step. So
Yeah.
she did it and and she got over herself. And what I realized was that was something that she really needed to work on. And so I would give her opportunities to do that. So I remember that summer, as she loves Chipotle. So I'd be like, you gotta go to the front and you gotta order your food. And the first time she was like, no, what? Like, there's all these people around and the man is there with all of this stuff in front of him. And I was like, if you want to eat, you gotta order it. By the end of that summer, she could handle that and she could handle paying for it. And I think it's just gradual. You just have to you have to see spaces where they are a little fearful or that you're doing it for them and give them the agency to do it. And that's a big part of entrepreneurship, right? Us just always finding a way and getting over ourselves to get something done. My son is a lot more gregarious than her and extroverted. It's like nothing for him. He would come up and talk to you and just be like, Eartha, where's your book? Can I get a planner? Like, that's who he would be. She's more introverted, but there are things I have to work with on him that I don't necessarily have to work with on her around resilience and, like not getting upset and seeing things through. But, you just have to tap into them, know what they need.
I think that's amazing. And it's funny because nobody handed us a blueprint or even a manual on how to be a mom. It's like it's on the job
Nope.
training, and you learn from your mistakes, and you really don't want to make any mistakes to learn. You want to get it right every single time. But
Hmm.
I love how you give your children agency in what they're doing. So you're empowering them to act in the moment and to make their own decisions and to live by their decisions. And
Absolutely.
and I can see how that connects with how you coach women in business, as
Hmm.
in give them the agency to make the decisions to operate the business that can go on without them being in the center of every single action.
Absolutely. Because we don't need to be in the center of everything. We need to be where we're supposed to be when we're supposed to be there. So I'll tell you where I really realized how I wanted to be a mother. I taught high school for a number of years, and I would see certain kids and how they were developing, and how certain kids were able to have a lot more agency and advocate for themselves in ways that some kids were not, and the ones that couldn't were typically like lashing out in anger, or they didn't know how to just say what it is that they needed. And so I remember saying to myself, when I have kids, the moment I realize they can do something, even if they gotta stumble through it, I'm gonna let them stumble through it. I'm gonna push them to like speak up and ask questions and things like that. And so I remember, because my daughter, out of the two of them, is the shyer. She's not really shy, she's just introverted. And I used to tell her when she was little, closed mouths don't get fed. So if you want something, you got to do what you got to do to get it. And I mean, I'm not perfect. None of us are as mothers. There's no blueprint, like you said. Um, and there's no blueprint for entrepreneurship, right? We
Mm-mm.
fall down like 1,005 times in a day, and we just like brush ourselves off. And sometimes we have a good cry, or sometimes we like slam the door, but we pivot back because we know as entrepreneurs, nobody's really gonna save us. We got to do it.
Right. And I know for me, one of the hard lessons that I carried over from being a mom into my entrepreneurship was, if you want something done right, do it yourself. Move out of the way. I'll do it for you. Right. And terrible, terrible, but I got to own that one. Right. So even with my own business, I'm like, I'll do it myself. Oh, I'll do it myself. But what happens is when you do everything yourself, the minute you get sick, guess what happens? Your whole business collapses. Your
That's
business
it.
cannot continue on without you in the event that you have a health crisis. So, I thank you for one pointing that out to me over the years, because you've pointed that out to me more than once,
I
right?
did.
Yes, you did. In very subtle ways. Sometimes you were very blatant, and sometimes you were just like, well, if the way you offer your advice in that gentle kind of encouraging way that kind of makes you think, which makes you a marvelous friend and a spectacular
Oh,
coach.
thank you. I
But
appreciate that.
yeah, no, it's I think part of the problem that women face in operating their own business, not just women, any of us, let's just take women out of the equation, is just having someone be honest about what it is that we're doing. A lot of
Mhm.
times we have people in our ear telling us what we want to hear, because they
Yeah.
that's the easiest way to get resources out of a person, is just tell them what they want to hear. But at the end of the day, those people that want to see your business grow and want to see your business serve community, they speak to you differently.
Right.
I call that my tribe. And I've always considered you part of my tribe. We've been connected since we met. And we've
Yeah.
never let each other go. And even when we fall out of
Absolutely.
touch, we're still family. So,
Yep.
um, what for those who don't understand the need for having a tribe, and or how to get a tribe, what is your advice for that woman who is in business that says, hey, I don't have anybody helping me. Hey, I'm trying to do this all myself. Hey, I'm out here on my own trying to figure it out. What should I do? Where should I start? Because you are the queen of advice on getting your tribe together. And as a matter of fact, you advise women how to get a tribe.
Yeah.
So
That's true. I
please.
have. So I will say like community is important. I will also say that use resources that are free, or if you're in a place where you can afford either low cost or more expensive ones, use them, right? But have a mix. So I would say find like the local small business development or Chamber of Commerce, those kind of things where they have events. You can meet people. You can go to online workshops with We NYC or SBS, where you can learn things so that you can do business better. And you tap into people that work at those places so that you can get into different programs and things that they have available for you. Um, and so that's the first thing, because if you go to those, and I mean, I have to find time to go to those. My schedule after 2:30 is crazy. I never get to go to networking events if they're not online. um but I would say find some networking events to go to, and don't go into them thinking have people buy into my business. Just talk about yourself, let them talk to you, and you listen to what they say. And then if you feel like there's some sort of connection, some synergy, just reach out and just be like, "Hey, I met you at the online speed networking event, or at the Bronx Chamber of Commerce networking event. I'd like to touch base with you. Here's my calendar to schedule an appointment." And keep it light, you know and just you just have to see how you grow with people. I remember when we met, it was at Hurston Wright Foundation, right? And we were in that writing workshop for the week. And um I forgot. We just always stayed in touch after that, right? And we just kind of built in time what we have as a relationship. And I think it's fine to take things gradual. You don't have to jump in with everybody all the time. And, just be discerning. Be discerning.
Excellent, excellent. And you made an excellent point. I remember once upon a time, long, long ago, I was considering being a songwriter, and I had just become a member of ASCAP. And when I went to ASCAP, there were all of these new record labels that were starting up who, as soon as you walked in the door, they're like, "Hey, my name is John, and I want you to, check out my mixtape, buy my mixtape." Meanwhile, this is a conference on on resources for those who were independent music professionals. So it's a
Right.
conference on resources, and there, as soon as you walk through the door, they're trying to sell you their mixtape, right? So even years later, fast forward, I joined a small business network. It was the same concept. "Hey, my name is John. I got this T-shirt. Buy this T-shirt." And I'm like, "Nice T-shirt, John, but I'm not here for T-shirts." And I think that when we go to these networking events, these informational sessions, we're there to introduce ourselves to people,
Hmm.
introduce ourselves or our service to a network of people, and also find out what services they can provide for us. It's not for us to sell our T-shirt, our hat, our mixtape,
Exactly.
or whatever. And a lot of people miss the lessons that are being spread around the room because they're trying to sell their product or service as opposed
Right.
to listening to what resources are being explained that are available for them. So you made an excellent point
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. And when you approach networking or building community by like selling to me first, it's a little thirsty, And I don't mean I hope that doesn't come off wrong, but it's like, business is about relationship building. So let's build some sort of relationship. There's a big difference between me seeing your shirt and saying, "Oh, I love that shirt." And you say, "Oh, thanks. I have an online boutique. This is one of the things that I sell. Check out the site." And then I can go to your site and I can see it and I can buy it, right? That's different than you in my face with your mixtape or your t-shirt, unless you're at a vending event. And I mean, vending events are good for me. Like sometimes I just go to meet women there, meet mompreneurs there, or meet women and see what kind of things that they need for their businesses. And then I'll reach out and be like, "Hey, is this something that you're interested in or whatever?" So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the lesson in business is allowing the bottom line to show us that we need to do something differently. So if
Mm-hmm.
our sales are not rolling in the way that they should, then that's a sign that we need to do something differently. And
Mm-hmm.
even with the book, I've learned that I could say, hey, I have this amazing book. It's won all of these awards. Hey, it was endorsed by this person or that person. But if the person doesn't connect with the story, they don't care about my awards. They don't care about who endorsed it. They don't
Right.
care. They want to know, is it juicy? Is it good? And
Mm-hmm.
juicy and good is not necessarily the most accurate writing. It's, does this story appeal to me? So we have to ensure that
That's it.
whatever it is that we do appeals to the person who's on the other side, to the consumer, to the individual. We're not just targeting a person who is a person without identity, without authenticity, a person that is just a template of every people out there. It's one individual connecting with the work, whether it's a service or a
Right.
product that we do.
So
So that's, oh,
so I
continue.
was
I'll
gonna
let
say, so one of the first things I ever asked somebody, an entrepreneur, when we have a discovery call, I'd be like, who's your target audience? And if they tell me something like everybody is my target audience, I'm like, sis, bro, no. Let's unpack who you really need to serve, because content marketing and digital marketing is all about having the right person, meeting the needs of the right person at the right time on the right platform, right? So, excuse me, I have more of a presence on LinkedIn than I do Instagram, because people hit me up on Instagram and on LinkedIn, and they're ready to do business, or they're ready for somebody to do a workshop on content marketing for, the local chamber of commerce, or a economic development corporation. Whereas on Instagram, you just have like a lot of people clicking like. Maybe sometimes you'll make a synergy, sometimes a lot of times you necessarily won't. So I think the biggest thing that we always need to think about is, are we really meeting the needs of our target audience? Are we sharing our message in a way that is going to make them feel like this person, this entrepreneur, has the ideas and the insight to solve my problems, to make my life easier?
right. And on Instagram, people are just there to look. They're just there to
Hmm.
look. Oh, this is nice and interesting. And they just keep it looking and scrolling. And I found that even when I've reached out to people myself on Instagram to say, hey, do you provide a service? Or hey, do you reference material? Um, those comments just sort of fall, without
Hmm.
response, and people don't respond to them. But if you're reaching out to someone on like um, um, LinkedIn,
LinkedIn. Hmm.
people are there to do business. They will respond. People respond on Facebook as well, um, uh, and on I'm not even going to mention the other place because I don't like them right now. But they respond on Facebook, and they definitely respond on LinkedIn. And then there's this new medium, TikTok, which I've made connections on TikTok, but when something is very new, I don't really trust them as much. I have to kind of see what the process is like and what the
Hmm.
content is like, and how the format of the whole platform works before I say, oh, okay, well, maybe this is really a genuine person. But I love when I find someone that I connect with or have connected with for years or know in person, and I see them on TikTok, and I see them on Instagram, and I see them on LinkedIn, because then I know I'm speaking to my girl, I'm speaking to my friend, someone I already trust. So, what is it like and engaging on LinkedIn with people that you don't know from Adam, but who can be a potential customer, a potential client, someone that you can work with and support and help grow their business. What is it like engaging with that person you don't know from Adam, that stranger?
I mean, I use the discovery calls as an opportunity to get to know people, entrepreneurs, and see if we are a good synergy. Or I use a discovery call to vet people that I'm going to interview. So the funniest thing, a woman hit me up on LinkedIn, and she was sharing what she did, and all she did was say, "Hey, I saw your profile. I think we should get to know each other. Um, thank you for allowing me to follow you." And so I said thanks. And I was able to then tell her, yeah, I run Amplify and I run for Black mompreneurs. And she was like, oh, I just went and I looked at for Black mompreneurs. And I said, why don't we just have a short talk and see if there's a synergy and you would like to be um, on the podcast? So we talked, we were supposed to talk for 15 minutes. We talked for the better part of 45 minutes. And sometimes it's like that, and sometimes it's not. I mean, I knew 10 minutes in I wanted to interview her, but we just had such a synergy. And, I use discovery calls as that opportunity to see if we're a good fit. If I'm trying to ask you questions, and this is just for all entrepreneurs, if you are you should be vetting a potential client in the same way that they vet you, because you know anybody that works with me knows I kind of might answer my phone after 6 o'clock, but don't bet on it. Right, you gonna wait till tomorrow. um and I might have shot myself in the foot saying that, but you better know. Right. um but I think that is an opportunity to really know if this is someone you want to work with or not. So, like, for instance, I've done a discovery call and done a proposal, and then the person wants to, like, negotiate the price or negotiate the rate. And I'm like, I don't do that. Because you walk into any retailer, and if it's on sale, you buy it on sale. If it's full price and you want it, you buy it, right? There is not space for me to necessarily negotiate prices, because I've set those prices or those rates because I have, like, I know my value
Mhm.
as a content strategist and as a content creator and somebody who will manage your project for you. And so I'm not discussing it. So once somebody starts doing that, I'm like, well,
Mhm.
I don't know if we're a good fit. Bye. And that's the end of it. Because all money is not good money.
That's
If
right.
it takes up your time and makes you feel stressed, like, there's a reason why we don't have, well, I have a part-time job. I work at Baruch College, but there's a reason why we're not in somebody's corporate office doing stuff all day, because we wanted certain freedoms to be innovative and be creative. And I am not going to take on anything that's going to stifle me.
Thank you. Excellent point. Excellent point. And now I have to circle back to ask this one, because I know a lot of women in business struggle with this one here. Um, you're a woman in business. How do
Mhm.
you set your price and stick to your rate?
Okay, how do I set my? So I think about how much time it will take me. I think about the value that I bring to the table, right? I am somebody who has worked as a journalist, a business journalist, so I know storytelling. I've been an educator. I'm still an educator. And so I understand how to inform and provide information to people so that they understand and can move forward. And I combine those to give you the dopest strategy, plan, and actual content, right? And so with those things in mind, like, and you just you're getting like this dope woman from the Bronx. So that should tell you everything. So
Mhm.
that's how I set my prices.
There you go. There you go.
Okay.
Hmm.
I think about all that I have been able to do and can do, and how I can help your business grow. And I don't necessarily negotiate that because it is a high value. That's it.
Thank you. Thank you. I know when it comes to women in business, we tend to, Black women in business especially, we tend to undercut ourselves. So
Hmm.
that's something that we all need to learn how to do, and something that we need to stick to. One, assigning a value to what we
Hmm.
do. And what were you getting ready to say?
So I was gonna say, and that wasn't always easy for me to be able to stand in that and just be like, this is my price. It took some people. I have a business coach, Maya Haradat, that she's worked with me a lot over the years, and I was really scared. Like when I first started, I was like, yeah, I could do the blog post for $50, and she was like, $50? What is wrong with you? That $50 will be going in 5 seconds. And so I really had to get out of this mode of thinking, like, well, what if they don't like my price? What if they don't? Then they're not your target audience, right? Your target audience will see what you have to offer and how you will help them, and they'll make a decision. And it might not be that day, right? It might be 2 weeks from now or a month from now, and that's fine. But you just have to remember your value and don't negotiate that, because when you do, then you will regret it
I mean,
and you'll
you're
be
right. You're
angry.
right. You're right. You're right about that. And one thing I can definitely say, if you're a woman in business and you are not charging the right fees for your service, you will not be in business. Your
Nope.
Wi-Fi will not be Wi-Fiing. Your computer will not be computing. Your internet will not be interneting because you're struggling to pay those bills to keep your own business going. So, for those of us who need to learn that lesson, um, visit, what's your website again?
Or blackmompreneurs.com.
For blackmompreneurs.com. If that's a lesson that you need to learn, visit forblackmompreneurs.com. Follow on social media via Instagram, and find Miss Femi Lewis on LinkedIn, and ask her about her services, because I can tell you just from my own experience that she's invaluable. And
Oh,
I,
thank
I
you.
call her my Femi, like she's nobody else's Femi.
She
Um,
does. You're my Eartha.
but she's also one of the businesses that I recommend to other businesses, because she does an amazing job. And she is an astute professional, and she allows you to remove yourself from your craft to look at your business, which
I
is
like that.
hard. Yeah, that's hard. It's hard to, especially for artists, because the artists, we only care, oh, the art, but you have to remove yourself from the craft to look at the numbers and to make sure the numbers make sense.
Hmm.
And you have a way of pointing out what the details are that you can't see when a person is immersed in the middle of the art,
Hmm.
because that was a lesson I learned, that as an artist, it's like, wow, it's so beautiful, it's so pretty, look at the colors, wow, look at what they're saying, the music, it's all wonderful. But at the end of the day, if the numbers don't add up, it's a hobby and not a business. And to hear someone say that to you in a professional setting will hurt your feelings. It's better to come from someone who is encouraging, who has your best intentions in mind, has wants to see you grow, wants to see your business
Hmm.
grow, and they're there coaching you. So kudos to what you do and how you
Thank you.
do it and the way you do it. And and thank you for offering your services to the community of people who need help. Um,
Thank
is
you.
there any question that you have for me that maybe I can
Um, ab-
answer, if any?
about about what
Uh,
you have?
I can't think of a question for me either.
Well, I'll
But
say this. Like,
uh-huh.
how have you, because I know that like you've grown a lot as an
Hmm.
entrepreneur, and I don't even think initially you thought about yourself in that way.
Hmm.
I remember you were like, I'm gonna self-publish this book, and then things just kind of took on a life of its own. When did you kind of embrace that moment of, yeah, I'm an entrepreneur?
Um, that is a hard question. Um, Simply because my focus was always get it done, get it done, get it done, you know,
Hmm.
and to the point where I was looking for ways to get it done. And and then I was part of everything entrepreneur, from Project Enterprise to the New York Women Chamber of Commerce. I was going to all the conferences. I had the business cards. I was handing them out, doing whatever I could to sort of get my name out there. Um, so embracing the entrepreneur part of it came when I started doing the if I have to answer, when I started doing the business pitch competitions. Um,
Okay.
because in that moment I had to say what it was that I do in a finite minute fraction of time to get that point across to the individual that I'm speaking to. And in that moment, I couldn't speak about the art. I couldn't speak about the talent. I couldn't even bring my best writing into it. I had to say, this is what I do. This is how I do it. And this is who I do it for. So
Absolutely.
in those business pitch competitions, I had to learn how to pitch my business. And I took a workshop at Columbia University through the Columbia University Economic Development Center. That was one workshop. And then I took another workshop, Perfect Pitches by Precious. I took
Okay.
her
Yeah, I've seen
workshop.
her on LinkedIn. Precious
Yes, yes.
Williams. Yeah.
Precious Williams. I took her workshop and read her book, and I was introduced to her through Tina Lee, who had Gold Diggers. So I would go to different people's workshops and sit for the workshop. So Tina Lee had a workshop, and it was on a rainy day, and she had women in the room on a rainy day, and she had Precious in there, Precious Williams. So I bought the book, and right there I said, I love the book. I think I need a little something else. So right after that, I took the Columbia University workshop. And from there, it sort of allowed me to reel in those defining points of what I do as a business. And it's a learning curve. It's a learning curve. Even when I was writing a novel, I had to read several books on how to write a novel, and then I had to take
Mhm.
several workshops on how to write a novel. And then I still needed to be pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed, because life itself is a learning curve, and nobody does it perfectly. And we all need a network of people to help us do even some of the things that we want to do the most. We need support. So it's
Absolutely.
a beautiful experience calling you a sister, and considering you as one of my village. I say
You
Femi's a
too.
real one.
You too, Eartha. I be like, Eartha is salt of the earth. That's Eartha. She's just good people. Hmm.
So again, we're here. doing what we do, building community, starting with our families and then building community. So, to connect with Miss Femi, please email her at amplify@amplifycontent.com and on
.co.
Instagram. .co. Darn
Yeah,
it.
.co.
Right. .co. C-O.
Mm-hmm.
Amplifycontent.co, which is also the website. And for
Com.
blackmompreneurs.com.
Mm-hmm.
For
Mom Pro.
blackmompreneurs.com.
Yes.
And you can connect with Femi at Amplify with Femi on Instagram and look for her, Femi Lewis, on LinkedIn as well.
Yes.
And you can connect with me at Eartha Tone across social media. And please, if you're watching this, be sure to go to YouTube and subscribe to Soul City Network. That way you can catch us here, Good Morning Community, at 11 a.m. Watch us live, or you can watch some of the archived episodes, which are also on LinkedIn. And also you can connect with Femi to find out more about your podcast, which I didn't get a chance to ask you. What gave you the impetus to start the podcast?
I really felt like, there's a lot of talk around mompreneurship, and I was in a lot of Facebook groups with mompreneurs, and they were always these perky white women. And you could come in and you could say one or two things, but one of the things I noticed is that our needs were never kind of amplified, and with the exception of what happened in 2020 with George Floyd, there was never any kind of conversation around like race and entrepreneurship and motherhood, and sometimes if you did say something, it was met with, we're not here for politics. Well, I'm here to say there is nothing more political in this world than motherhood. Okay. So I realized, and I had sat on it for years, that I really did need to create a space and have these discussions with Black women for motivation and encouragement, so we don't feel like we're alone, and we don't feel like, let me do this because if I don't do it, nobody will get it done. And so that for me was my impetus. Like, I have to really create this space, and I'm still creating it. It's not easy, but yeah, that's why I did it. And I want our kids in our community, and I want us to have legacy. And that all begins with us as mothers and as entrepreneurs. Okay.
Wow. Yeah, that's the truth of it. The minute we have children, we have to start doing things differently. And we have to start doing things better when we can't just accept what is simply because that's the way it is. We have to make sure that there's a better world for our children. I'm Black, I get it. But I get it. And the fact that you have a whole conversation on those things that pertain specifically to us as Black mothers in business, I love it. I love it.
Thank you.
So
Thank
thank
you
you
so
for doing what
much.
you do the way you do it. Um, and yeah, this is an amazing, amazing interview, and you're an amazing guest. And
Thank you so much for having me, Eartha. I was so nervous, but I'm so happy that I did it. And this is a great platform.
thank you, Femi. Thank you, Femi. If there's a resource, real quick, that you would love to recommend to Good Morning Community and those who are watching, what's the one resource that you would recommend?
I would say
Okay. Well, until Femi comes back, we have a little technical difficulty, but I can recommend a couple of resources that I would love to share with the Good Morning Community or audience. I would love to recommend the New York Women's Chamber of Commerce. I spoke briefly of the networking experiences and the informational sessions where you can gather information and pamphlets about what resources are out here for businesses. The New York Women's Chamber of Commerce does just that. Also, the state office building has several workshops that flow in and out of their conferences for small businesses, Black women owned businesses, MWBE certification. The Small Business Economic Development Center operates out of the state office building. Those are places where if you are a business owner, you can stop in and pick up some information, a pamphlet, a website, whatever it is that you need to either start your business or keep it going. Again, this is Good Morning Community. My name is Eartha Watts Hicks. I am the author of Love Changes, Graffiti Mural, and A Planner is a Girl's Best Friend. You can connect with me on Instagram at Eartha Tone and across all social media at Eartha Tone. That's Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, everywhere there is to be on social media, I'm there at Eartha Tone. And please, please, please subscribe to Soul City Network at YouTube to find out more about Good Morning Community and some of the other shows on our network, because we have a fabulous roster of different shows on Soul City Network. So drop in, subscribe, and stay in touch with us. And it's a pleasure to, again, be with you this morning and to share some of the resources and some of the people who help keep this community active and engaged and learning and growing and taking care of each other, which is what community does. My name is Eartha Watts Hicks. Thank you for joining us on Good Morning Community. Please be sure to leave a comment in the comment section. And if you have a question, bring your questions next time because we love to answer questions. Until then, have a lovely day and stay blessed. Goodbye now.
We are the sons and daughters of the soul. We are resilient and forever forward thinking. We ask for nothing else than the opportunity to live and to create the lives that we were meant to live. We want nothing but an equal chance at options and possibilities. The same possibilities and options to live out our potential as our fellow man. We want to be heard, understood, and expressive in our reality. We are the future. We are the creative. We are here.